Before you test for your CDL in Georgia, hit like, hit subscribe, and let's get you ready.
Question 1. Georgia allows the use of triple trailers on its highways. True or false? False. Triple trailers are not permitted on Georgia roads. Question 2. Georgia allows the use of a commercial driver's license for personal use of large vehicles. True or false? True. While a CDL is primarily for professional use, CDL holders may operate qualifying large vehicles for personal reasons if properly licensed. Question 3. In Georgia, a CDL is not required to operate a recreational vehicle for personal use. True or false? True. Recreational vehicles for personal use are exempt from CDL requirements. Question 4. In Georgia, a CDL holder can use a handheld mobile phone while operating a commercial motor vehicle. True or false? False. Using a handheld mobile phone while driving a CMV is prohibited in Georgia. Question 5. Georgia requires CDL applicants to pass a vision test with at least 20/40 vision in each eye. True or false? True. A minimum of 20/40 vision in each eye is required for CDL applicants in Georgia. Question 6. In Georgia, the CDL skills test must be taken in a vehicle representative of the class of license desired. True or false? True. The skills test must be taken in an appropriate vehicle. Question 7. Georgia's CLP holders can drive commercial vehicles without a qualified CDL holder present. True or false? False. CLP holders must always be accompanied by a licensed CDL driver in the front seat. Question 8. CDL holders in Georgia must carry their medical examiner certificate at all times. True or false? True. The certificate must be carried when operating a CMV. Question 9. Georgia CDL applicants must take a separate air brakes test to avoid a restriction if their vehicle uses air brakes. True or false? True. Without passing the air brakes knowledge and skills test, a CDL will carry an L restriction, disallowing air brake equipped vehicles. Question 10. Georgia requires a tanker endorsement to haul liquids in containers of 1,000 gallons or more. True or false? True. A tanker endorsement is required for large liquid containers. Question 11. CDL holders in Georgia are exempt from traffic laws while operating a commercial vehicle. True or false? False. CDL holders must adhere to all traffic laws. Question 12. Georgia CDL applicants must pass both a knowledge test and a skills test. True or false? True. Both tests are required to obtain a CDL. Question 13. Georgia allows CDL applicants to take the knowledge test in any language. True or false? False. The knowledge test must be taken in English. Question 14. The Georgia DDS will automatically mail a renewed CDL to a driver's out-of-state address. True or false? False. Georgia's CDLs must be mailed to a valid in-state address. Proof of residency is required. Question 15. All CDL road tests in Georgia are conducted by the Department of Driver Services, DDS. True or false? False. Georgia permits certified third-party testers to administer the CDL skills test in addition to DDS. Question 16. Georgia CDL applicants must self-certify their type of commercial operation and may need to provide a medical examiner certificate. True or false? True. Self-certification and, in some cases, a medical examiner certificate are required. Question 17. A Georgia driver with a CDL is subject to disqualification if convicted of texting while driving a CMV. True or false? True. Texting while operating a commercial vehicle is a serious offense and can lead to suspension or disqualification. Question 18. In Georgia, the no zone refers to areas where cars should avoid lingering near large trucks. True or false? True. No zones are blind spots around commercial vehicles where crashes are more likely if other drivers remain too long. Question 19. In Georgia, a CDL is not required to operate a farm vehicle within 150 miles of the farm. True or false? True. Certain farm vehicle operations are exempt from CDL requirements. Question 20. In Georgia, a CDL is required to operate a vehicle with a gross vehicle weight rating, GVWR, of 26,001 pounds or more. True or false? True. Vehicles with a GVWR of 26,001 pounds or more require a CDL. Question 21. CDL holders in Georgia are allowed to operate a commercial vehicle with any alcohol concentration. True or false? False. Operating a CMV with a BAC of 0.04% or higher is prohibited. Question 22. You must be at least 21 years old to operate a commercial vehicle across state lines in Georgia. True or false? True. Georgia follows federal regulations that require drivers to be 21 or older for interstate CMV operation. Question 23. In Georgia, you must be at least 18 years old to obtain a CDL for intrastate driving. True or false? True. Georgia allows individuals 18 years or older to obtain a CDL for driving within the state. Question 24. Georgia requires a double/triple trailer endorsement to operate such vehicles. True or false? True. An endorsement is required for double or triple trailers. Question 25. Georgia requires all CDL holders to undergo a medical examination every 2 years. True or false? True. A valid medical examiner's certificate is required every 2 years for most CDL holders. Question 26. Georgia requires CDL applicants to pass a background check when applying for a hazardous materials endorsement. True or false? True. A background check is mandatory for hazardous materials endorsements. Question 27. In Georgia, a CDL is required to drive a school bus carrying fewer than 16 passengers. True or false? False. A school bus driver must hold a CDL with appropriate endorsements regardless of passenger count. Question 28. Georgia's CDL General Knowledge Test includes at least 50 questions. True or false? True. The General Knowledge Test contains 50 multiple-choice questions with a passing score of 80%. Question 29. Hazardous materials endorsements in Georgia expire after 4 years. True or false? False. Hazardous materials endorsements are valid for 5 years, but a TSA background check must be renewed regularly. Question 30. Georgia requires a background check for all CDL applicants. True or false? False. Background checks are only required for certain endorsements, such as hazardous materials. Question 31. Georgia requires a separate endorsement for operating a school bus. True or false? True. A school bus endorsement is required to operate a school bus. Question 32. CDL holders in Georgia can operate a motorcycle without a motorcycle endorsement. True or false? False. A separate motorcycle endorsement is required. Question 33. In Georgia, a CDL is required to operate a vehicle designed to transport 16 or more passengers, including the driver. True or false? True. Vehicles designed to carry 16 or more passengers require a CDL. Question 34. In Georgia, CDL applicants must provide proof of U.S. citizenship or lawful permanent residency. True or false? True. Proof of legal presence is required for CDL issuance in Georgia. Question 35. Georgia requires all CDL applicants to pass the air brakes knowledge test, regardless of the vehicle they intend to operate. True or false? False. The air brakes test is only required if the vehicle is equipped with air brakes. Question 36. In Georgia, a CDL holder must notify their employer of any traffic violations within 30 days. True or false? True. Notification of traffic violations is required within 30 days. Question 37. In Georgia, a CDL is required to operate a vehicle transporting hazardous materials in any quantity. True or false? True. Transporting hazardous materials requires a CDL with the appropriate endorsement. Question 38. Georgia recognizes the FMCSA's self-certification categories for CDL medical qualifications. True or false? True. CDL holders must select one of 4 federal medical self-certification categories. Question 39. CDL skills test appointments in Georgia can be rescheduled with no penalty, regardless of notice given. True or false? False. Failing to give adequate notice for rescheduling or missing the appointment may incur a fee or delay. Question 40. In Georgia, the CDL knowledge test must be passed before a CLP, commercial learner's permit, can be issued. True or false? True. Applicants must pass the written/general knowledge test to receive a CLP. Question 41. Georgia allows military personnel to waive the CDL skills test if they have relevant experience. True or false? True. Military personnel with appropriate experience may be exempt from the skills test. Question 42. Georgia requires a passenger endorsement to operate a vehicle designed to carry more than 15 passengers. True or false? True. A passenger endorsement is required for such vehicles. Question 43. Georgia allows the use of a foreign driver's license to operate a commercial vehicle. True or false? False. A valid Georgia CDL is required to operate a commercial vehicle. Question 44. Georgia permits the use of interpreters during the administration of CDL knowledge tests. True or false? False. Interpreters are not allowed during CDL knowledge tests in Georgia. Question 45. Georgia CDL applicants must provide their own vehicle for the skills test. True or false? True. Applicants must bring a representative vehicle for the class of CDL they are testing for. Question 46. CDL holders in Georgia can have more than one driver's license. True or false? False. CDL holders must not possess more than one driver's license. Question 47. Georgia allows the use of a certification of address form for CDL applicants to prove residency. True or false? False. CDL applicants must provide specific documents to prove residency. A certification of address form is not sufficient. Question 48. Georgia requires CDL applicants to hold a commercial learner's permit, CLP, for at least 14 days before taking the skills test. True or false? True. A minimum of 14 days with a CLP is required before the skills test. Question 49. In Georgia, a CDL holder can be disqualified for life after a second conviction of driving a CMV with a blood alcohol concentration of 0.04% or higher. True or false? True. A second offense of driving a CMV with a BAC of 0.04% or higher results in lifetime disqualification. Question 50. Georgia CDL applicants must submit proof of lawful U.S. presence. True or false? True. Documentation verifying legal presence in the U.S. is required to obtain a Georgia CDL.
Appreciate you watching. Don't stop now. Check out the next video or click here for the cheat sheet that'll help you pass like a pro.